Hey guys, what's up? Unrested here. Following up with well, I want to say weekend JFAQ, but it's not the weekend. Today is Tuesday, right? It feels like the weekend because it's Golden Week for me. Well, anyway, a JFAQ. I hadn't done one list. I hadn't done one. I hadn't done one. I hadn't done one. That isn't even a word. I hadn't done one. I swear to God, my English just slowly digresses into this like caveman grunts. Um, Doing a JFAQ. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And I guess one of the questions that I get a lot, which is always kind of odd to me that I get this one, but I guess I can understand why. A lot of people are always worried that Japan is going to go to war with North Korea, which, first of all, that's not quite what Japan does. Japan doesn't go to war. As of right now, we still don't have our constitution changed, even though it was changed after 69 years of being only a self defense force. It's slowly, I guess, gradually changing into a force that can go into war without having to defend themselves, as in, I guess, go on the offensive. Um, Still, at the same time, Japan is not a country that always goes around looking for war, and if they can avoid it, Japan will. For the most part, America helps us out a lot with defending Japan. They have their bases in Yokohama, Okinawa, and a couple other ones. Actually, I say those two bases, but really, even the Okinawa base is like, I think it's something like 12 different scattered bases around Okinawa. So saying one base is really not I guess semantically correct. Am I using that word correctly? English. I teach it. So anyway, going to war with North Korea. Yeah, I understand some people seeing this different stuff North Korea constantly does to kind of, I don't know if you would call it bullying or more of like a desperate cry for help. Because I mean, when I think bully, I think someone who's stronger than somebody else using their strength and weight and power to bully the other person around. And quite frankly, I mean, North Korea is pathetic at best. It's a starving country, which is sad. I feel sad for the people there that are starving. I don't think that's cool or anything. I don't think they deserve it. It's, an iron fist dictatorship that doesn't allow its people to see outside of the country, so they don't even know how bad off they are. Although I have a feeling they have some concept. People cannot leave that country, so they're trapped in there. They have a chance of ending up in a gulag if they try to escape. There's obviously multiple, humanitarian rights are violated. I mean, of course, all these things I'm stating are the obvious. You probably already know all this. Um, as far as actually starting a war with Japan, I don't foresee this ever happening. To start a war, you have to have an army and technology that is up to snuff, that is up to date. And I mean, I don't care what people say about Japan. I know a lot of people say like Japan lives in the future and the past. There's still a lot of things here that are really old. Yeah, but when it comes to like military technology, I mean Japan works with America all the time to make the newest, best, greatest, latest technology. Um, they're always high tech. Let's put it that way. All right. I don't know exact logistics of everything that the Japanese military has ever made, or self defense forces, really it should be called. Um, but I can assure you it's far, far higher technology than anything North Korea has. There's not going to be any kind of like secret weapon. Like there's not a storage of cyborgs over ready to fight for North Korea or something like that. Now, if Japan did that, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, Japan has stuff right now that they're coming out with exoskeletons for old people to be able to lift things and move. People who have no movement in their legs, that are paraplegic, they've come out with medically, and these are medically approved. This isn't like, hey, we've got stage one of developing these kind of like, beta stage legs that maybe they'll work, but they might also break your leg off if they don't work right and malfunction. No, these are like gone through tons of testing. They've been developing these for ages, and now they've even made it past like a medical board that's like, yeah, you know what? These are actually totally perfect. I think the only thing that has stopped them is number one, they're really bulky. They're still very large, and number two, they actually move quite slow. So I mean, if you're building stuff that is helping paraplegic people walk, and giving exoskeleton bodies to soldiers, I think if you went to war with a country where they're like, oh gosh, I hope we have enough rice this week. You're probably going to win, especially when you got America on your side too. Now, I'm not a big fan of America launching a lot of attacks. I'm a big supporter of our troops. I think the troops are kind of our unsung heroes. But I'm not a big fan of war in general. And but I do have to say that should North Korea try to launch some kind of attack against Japan and America combined, and South Korea would obviously probably come to their aid too, even with their fight over whatever that island is, Dokudo. I don't know how to speak Korean. I can speak Japanese. I can't speak Korean. Whatever those islands are that they say are theirs, I think they would put that aside and come to the aid of the Japanese and fight together to crush North Korea. And I mean, they would decimate North Korea. So North Korea is not that dumb where they think like, yeah, we can definitely take America and Japan and South Korea with our do nothing army, or technology where we're like excited about having hot showers at night. Like that's a big piece of technology for them. Like they literally get hot water for just a short time during the day and then it turns off. So even things like running hot water and stuff like that is like a big deal for them. So that's the kind of technology we're talking about. They're excited when they get one of those DVD players that looks like a laptop that you can open up. Like that's like super future space age, time traveling technology for them. So they're not so dumb to think that, gosh, we could definitely take all these countries in a war because our army's so high tech and elite. Most of the military drills they even run have been proven to be kind of a joke. Like they just kind of do funny, silly stuff that's kind of like little kids playing army. And this isn't coming from me. This is coming from other, I guess, I don't know who heads up training in the military. Military trainers, they've looked at videos, I guess, and like they got the reactions from it, and it was just hysterical. They're just like, "What is this? Like nobody does this. Like nobody, gets into hand-to-hand combat like this. Nobody fires a gun that way. Like, no one runs and carries a gun like this and then attacks somebody with a bayonet like that. Like we don't even use bayonets anymore." Like it was just funny stuff like that. I was watching a video one time. And so when you're dealing with stuff like that, where it's just kind of like a country, I guess, attempting to make up a charade for its people to appear as though they're strong, that's the only people that they're impressing with that. Their own people who are closed off from the entire world, don't have internet, can't watch, outside news. But the rest of the world, I'm quite sure, Kim Jong-un and Kim, all his advisors and everything like that, and his father before him, Kim Jong-il, knew that they were just weaklings when it came. And the most annoying aspect is that many of the reasons why they launch these fake nuclear attacks, or real ones, or whatever it is, or missile testings and stuff like that, is pretty much they do it to say, hey, look, we're that crazy person in your family, like that crazy uncle who, like, you have to kind of throw some money their way so they'll shut up and leave you alone because they're so crazy they'll just make your life more complicated if you try to reason with them. That's kind of what they are, and that's kind of why they do what they do, because they make kind of a big stink like that, get everybody riled up, and then other countries do stuff like, okay, look, like if you just calm down and stop testing, we'll send some rice your way, or we'll send some oil, all right, or we'll help you finish that giant ugly hotel that no one wants to look at in Pyongyang, all right. So that's all they do. They use it kind of as like these, hey, I'm the crazy guy that you got to constantly tell to chill the F out, all right? That's all North Korea does. Will they ever collapse under, their paper tiger of a regime? I don't really know. I mean, to be quite honest, that is a very esoteric situation to the Koreas in general. I'm sure somebody who's lived in South Korea, like Steve Miller, who does his podcast, I'm sure he's a better person to ask about that, and not me, someone living in Japan. I just read and hear about what I see on the news and report to you what I think as far as, and as far as Japanese people are concerned, if you want to ask their opinion, they don't like North Korea at all. They hate North Korea. I think that's the one thing South Koreans and Japanese people can always see eye to eye on. They hate North Korea. They will, I think even the most calm, down-to-earth person here in Japan, if you ask them, like, what do you think of North Korea? They're like, idiots, fucking idiots. Like, that will be their honest opinion. But you gotta understand from their perspective, there's a country constantly launching missiles next to them while they're just sitting there being like, look, dude, we don't want to fight. Quit throwing punches. All right. So yeah, I can understand. You know, they're a peaceful country here in Japan, and they don't look to pick fights, so they really don't like it when another country does something like that. So you got to kind of I kind of side with the Japanese while I'm here. I'm kind of like, yeah, I can understand why you guys are pissed off. Makes sense. So anyway, guys, that's my own personal opinion. Will there ever be a an outbreak of war between Japan and North Korea? Nah, I doubt it. And even if there was, America's even said, hey, look, guys, if you ever do try to attack Japan, they've said this to North Korea, we've got their back. So think about that. And I'm sure they are. And you don't want to make the greatest military power in the world, along with some of the greatest military technology in the world, angry. I don't think not a very good attack plan. But then again, it is North Korea, and they're not the brightest country in the world. Let's be honest. Anyway, guys, if you have any more questions you'd like to send me about news articles or anything you're reading about Japan, please feel free to do so. If you have like older questions about Japan, like ones about like how do I get here, how do I get a teaching certificate, how do I get this so and so visa, I've got those answered like 100 years ago. I've got a whole series on interviewing in Japan for getting jobs. You can check out that playlist, but I mean, for the most part, I'm not going to be covering that topic. I've done 830 videos, I think, at this point, and about 100 of them are probably just on teaching in Japan alone. I may talk about some stories and experiences of doing it because there's some funny things that come up. But just check those out. Those should be able to cover just about anything. If you can't find them, just PM me and I'll try to get you a link, send it your way. Until next time, I'm Unrested with the questions you requested. This is JFAQ, Japan's Frequently Asked Questions. You guys have a good one.